Alright, everybody, we just got to do some quick testing here to make sure that we're live and we have some audio. I'll just take 1 second here. Alright, sounds like we're live and we have audio. So, I was supposed to do some oil wick testing, but that didn't work out. I was trying to visually show how far oil actually goes up a wick, but the food coloring wasn't really cooperating. It wasn't compatible very well with what I was doing. So we'll sidetrack here and we'll do a Mochi update, because we do have a Mochi update. So we have always tried to do this on the less expensive side, and my significant other, she's scoured a local app and found this was formerly a snake enclosure for a king snake, which passed away many years ago, and this was just sitting in their garage, and they're finally getting rid of it, so we got a great deal on it. So it was very inexpensive, kind of like almost free, but not quite free, but almost free. So anyway, and then using the same Next Door, she found a whole bunch of lizard hides that were free. So having your lizard beyond your initial enclosure, and sometimes you can find a great deal on an enclosure if you're willing to spend some time looking online. You don't have to spend a lot of money. A lot of times people are getting rid of their stuff, and some people are willing to let it go for a song. They just want a little bit of money to not feel like they gave it away. So this was a very good deal. Came with this enormous enclosure, and this enclosure is very large. It's easily a third longer, maybe a third deeper than the other enclosures, so a lot more room. So starting on the left side there, we have an actual plant, and you'd be amazed the lizard loves to climb into the plant at night, and it climbs into and out of the plant even though it's not quite tall enough to get in and out of the plant. Or actually, it gets into the plant gracefully, but getting out of the plant is not quite as graceful. So we have a paper towel under the plant. That's actually, you will be amazed how potty trained a lizard can be. We put a piece of paper towel down in a corner of the cage originally, or I guess a habitat, I guess is a better term, and it went to the bathroom right on the paper towel. And since then, we put a paper towel down and change it out every single day when it does its business, and you just roll it up, and it's just the easiest thing in the world. And then we found also on Nextdoor, somebody was giving away, it's called newspaper print, except it's not printed on. So you see how there's kind of a light colored paper on the bottom? That is a couple layers of newspaper print folded over. And that makes a great liner for the bottom, because you just roll everything up. Any sort of crumbs and stuff are kind of easily rolled into. You don't have to touch anything. You roll it, throw it in the recycling, and then put in new paper. And that's a super, I don't know, you're not using plastic, you're not using any sort of a substrate that the lizard can accidentally ingest and then have kind of block up their stomach. So we've been finding this very good. And then you continue to the back. You can see in the back right there is a water bowl. We put a rock inside of the water bowl so that the crickets and other live animals, if they crawl in there, they can crawl back out. And then also, you'd be amazed, the lizard likes to crawl in the water bowl every once in a while. So it has a nice little swimming pool over there. And then, well, let's also go to temperature control. So on the right, you see it has a stick-on thermometer. It's kind of a low accuracy way to just get a general idea of the temperature inside. Then on top of you see a yellow or orange, yellow, orange, light green. I don't know, I'm colorblind. So anyway, that bright colored thing on the top on the right hand side is the probe thermometer, and you can see kind of like a little string going inside, and so that is a probe thermometer, and you can actually see it kind of dangling in the shot there. So that is a very accurate measure that measures toward the top of the enclosure. Then kind of hidden by the plant leaf, That little piece of white that you can see on the far left on the bottom, that right there is a weather station. So that measures the ground temperature near the light. And then in the very back, you see that little black strip that looks like a piece of electrical tape. That's actually a visual, I don't know, kind of like almost like a forehead thermometer, an old-fashioned forehead thermometer. And if you look carefully at that, that reads the temperature, so that gives you an idea at the back wall. So some of these are very accurate, some of these are less accurate, but between all of them, you can get a general idea of the temperature and make sure your lizard will be within a healthy range. Anyway, to the middle of the enclosure, we have a very nice, it's kind of like a cave with 3 levels, and this is one of Mochi's favorite enclosures. He spends a lot of time inside of this, climbing to the different levels, climbs on the back of it. And then in the back is a traditional kind of like 3 pieces of driftwood nailed together, which Mochi also likes. We were told the lizards don't climb, but our last enclosure had a smooth backing, and you'll notice this enclosure has kind of a textured backing, and he or she, we don't know, can get their claws into the wall just ever so slightly. And Mochi was climbing the walls and, of course, fell down off the wall because, of course, not great grip climbing straight up a wall. So in the first day of having the enclosure, Mochi managed to tumble a couple of times trying to figure out what it can and can't do in the new enclosure. So I believe Mochi is currently inside of, on the far left there, you see the one that looks like a little cave, and you can kind of see a little bit of an entrance. That right there is where I believe Mochi is sleeping. That's one of the new free enclosures that we got. And then also right behind that is the one that looks like steps going up and down, and Mochi likes to spend time on the top of that. You can just barely see there's a small rock in front of that, so that's in the sun, and then also the one with the steps is directly in the sun. And so Mochi kind of switches between the rock, climbs up the steps and sits on top, sits under the bridge, half on the rock, half under the bridge. So I really think this Mochi really likes the new larger enclosure. The smaller enclosure was kind of a little cramped, maybe. But when we first got the lizard was pretty tiny. So it's growing quite quickly. It shed 4 times, I think, since we've got it, and it is substantially larger than it used to be. So that's an update. Let me show you. This is the other favorite enclosure for Mochi. It's just a simple coconut, and when we get done doing a little update here, I'm going to route this out a little bit more and also route this out. Mochi actually climbed inside and actually got stuck trying to come through here. So that wasn't good. So I'm going to open up that top part and open up this, and then pretty shortly Mochi will be too big for that. Mochi will be too big for that hide. But I think we'll wrap it up right there. But it's real nice. It was super inexpensive for the new upgrade. And so if you search around, you can find people who are getting rid of enclosures for just about free. So, all right. And then definitely, as far as the hides go, you can definitely find those for free if you're patient and look around, like Craigslist, Next Door. Lots of people are getting rid of snakes and lizards and stuff, and they will have free hides available. So anyway, we'll wrap it up right there. A little update on the new Mochi enclosure. And of course, Mochi, the action gecko, is doing its primary action, which is sleeping. So Mochi's quite a napper. So someday maybe we'll do an evening broadcast, and we'll show Mochi in its natural habitat at night. They're only active really when the sun just goes down, and then for a little bit after that, and then when the sun is just coming up, it seems. And they may be active during the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. It's hard to say. So anyway, everybody have a good weekend, and that's the latest update on Mochi. Mochi has a huge upgrade. It's got a new palace. This is the mansion size. So anyway, that's the upgrade for Mochi. Everybody have a great weekend.